Hello again, Steve here with a comment about something somebody just sent me on Facebook recently. Now, the last couple of videos I said hello to myself. Hello again, Steve. I meant hello again, Steve here. Sort of my tagline, and I try to get it straight. Everything is do it live here without any editing, so you get it, the raw footage of my runs. The odd time I have to clip off because I just completely bungle the front, so I start again, but typically it's just right through. Okay, the reason I want to talk about this is somebody sent me a link on Facebook of these young guys. They are called the Controversial Canadians. I will put a link of the video in the comment box or the below the video here. And I encourage people to support guys like this, people like this, who've got little channels, and mind you, they're probably a bigger channel than I, but still compared to the big guys on the internet, they're comparatively small. And the young guys starting out by the look of it. I don't know much about them, their background, and so on, but hey, anybody who's pointing in the direction of greater freedom, financial freedom, whatever it is, even if it's a freer version of politics, you know what? I'm going to give them the thumbs up. So now, these guys are an example of what I talked about before, how in the many we are strong, right? Because if we get too big, we see it in spades. We see it when people get too big on the internet, especially if you're putting forward truth, people like Faith Goldie and you know, who Alec Jones or whatever, they are under attack, big time, big time, big time. Now, often it's just for business reasons because they're competitors, but I don't think we can kid ourselves. There's some very dark forces after truth who want it shut down, and they will stop at nothing. They will stop at nothing to get rid of dissenting voices. However, so long as multiples pop up when these guys are taken down, multiple little people, little channels, it's very difficult for even YouTube to police thousands and thousands of channels, right? Because if they start taking down thousands and thousands of channels, they're actually interfering with their own business model. They think they can get away with taking a few big people down. I say think about it, because in the long run they'll end by destroying themselves, but it's very difficult for them to take down many, many. So my question is, why do we think for a minute the mainstream oligarchs of the world are so scared shitless about the yellow vest movement? And why are they either not reporting on it or just mentioning that they're a bunch of hooligans? Well, it's because this is an example of the many, I would say, possibly, who are making themselves heard. And without a central leader, it's hard to take them out. You see, with the whole Tommy Robinson movement in England, they tried every dirty-handed tactic, including throwing him in jail without a trial. And basically, potentially, they could have had him killed in there. And that was what they were hoping. Or at least scare the bejeebers out of him, right? But that's because he's a prominent leader. He's one of those who's risen up and is well known as a name brand item, name brand guy, right? They can then harass him directly. But when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of people who said we've had enough, whoa, that is very, very challenging. That overthrows the worst tyrants in the world, are the people at the end of the day, right? We are our own governors en masse, right? Yeah. So basically, the yellow vests and the movements that are spreading throughout the world, including here in what we call Canada. I mean, there was recently I don't know, 1,000 trucks or something went from Alberta and the East. Don't kid ourselves, from all over, to descend on Ottawa to say, you know what, we had enough. And this was, you could say, part of a grander yellow vest movement. It's kind of an allied movement of freedom that's spreading around the world, and common sense, whatever you want to call it. But these people, these productive people, look at who they were. These are truck drivers and so on. These are the productive people. They're not people who are sitting in ivory towers. These are the productive men and women of the world who are just tired of being lied to and stole to and having their nations and lands given away without their permission, given away to whoever shows up. Who's been asked about this, right? And they're fed up with it. And, so if we look at the mainstream media, we got to ask ourselves why. Why would they just continue to lie about whoever it is that dissents from their echo chamber, right? It's not a surprise. They let lies pass. They let Jasmeet Singh stand up and say that Canada is a nation of immigrants, which is a patent lie, right? I'm not an immigrant. My parents weren't an immigrant. Their parents weren't immigrants. Their parents weren't immigrants. And my ancestors on the French side came here, as far as I know, in the 1600s, right? What the hell does that make me an immigrant for, right? No, the vast majority of people are natives, right? Jasmeet Singh, you're probably an immigrant, so speak for yourself, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But, I mean, I had this guy recently ask me, because I was mentioning that, you know, if you go to Japan, yeah, you can get a Japanese citizenship, but you're never Japanese. Like, the people there will never say that you're Japanese, right? I would say the same thing, and I'm getting more clarity on this. People who come here, you can have a Canadian citizenship, but you're not Canadian, right? If you've got a place, a nation that you can go home to, you're not this. I don't say that disparaging. Same with me. If I move to Mexico, right, I might get some status there, but I'm not Mexican, right? Whoever's born there is that. That's where that's their homeland, right? And that's who, if we're going to say that Canada belongs to anybody, the highest claim are those who are born here, not those who come here. Those who come here have made a choice to come here, and they usually have some, I mean, in rare circumstances they might not, where their country has imploded or something. But in the vast majority of cases, they have a home to go back to if they want to. Anybody who's born here, and that's it, we can't go anywhere else. Like, we can't legally go anywhere else and stay there. I can't just move to Pakistan, India, China, Japan, United States, whatever, and just stay there indefinitely legally. No, they can throw my ass out of the country. But if you're from there originally, they can't, right? Therefore, I have a greater claim than you do. And this is what's getting lost on a lot of this stuff. And this is why, and people aren't willing to voice this, but this is what's irking a lot of people, is that people's countries are being given away by globalists, and they're not being asked. And as soon as they mention it, they're labeled as racists. You know, that is a pathetic pejorative to throw at a person without even having an argument back. Anyways, I get off on a bit of a rant once in a while. Okay, so coming back to this, I would say that anybody who cares, it doesn't matter where you're from, what your religion is, or whatever, if you care about freedom, support freedom of speech, support the vast number of growing grassroots dissension, you might call them. They are considered dissenters. But those who say, you know what, I don't believe the mainstream propaganda. These are often considered agitators or activists or whatever. But if they are aiming at the truth, even in a slightly different direction from you, perhaps, but at least roughly in that direction, support them. Because it's hard to estimate how much your support means to people who are working for liberty, for freedom. So that's basically what I have. And you know, the example I'm using today is these young guys who just posted a video. I saw my brother shared it with me, and they're called the Controversial Canadians. Posted in the link below, the link is posted below. So have a look at them, support them, like, subscribe, and share, and do this with as many people as you can. If you're not actually producing content yourself, get involved with the comments, get involved with like, subscribing, and sharing, and let's keep this freedom movement going and growing. Steve here again, great chatting. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.